Was extended.
This is CBMT, Channel 6, Montreal, Quebec. Time now for the 6:45 p.m. news report for this. Saturday, July 21st, 1962. Good evening, everybody. I'm Peter Wiggins. Here's what's happening. In Lima, Peru, the chief of Peru's Red and military junta called yesterday for the United States to renew its ties with Peru and restore the flow in dollars. He said he could not understand President Kennedy's suspension of diplomatic relations except to cause trouble. General Ricardo Perez Godoy, who led the coup d'etat, said the country's civilian regime Wednesday said in an interview, "We are seeking to preserve democracy." He said it could be given the United States assurances that aid funds now sent to Peru and would be reaching people in our country who are hungry and need aid. Perez Godoy charged that the U.S. and aided and did not always reach the people who are needed when President Manuel Prado was in the power, but rather was sold to governors and regime.
Like we had today.
A few hours after Perez Godoy
as that front starts to
and his military junta have moved into the presidential palace last Wednesday, the United States suspended diplomatic relations and cut off economic aid which had been flown in at the rate of $75 million a year. The White House, speaking for President Kennedy Thursday, accused Perez Godoy's junta of selling democracy back in Peru. Perez Godoy replied to this in an interview by saying, "We want to reserve democracy and have stability and tranquility." He explained the military coup d'etat and the junta charges that the June 10th presidential election was riddled with fraud. There was fraud, so much fraud, he said, "We brought and show them that the government fraud." Then pointed out at Prado's presidential desk. Perez Godoy said, Prado did nothing, there was nothing else for us to do. All we want is our honest and free elections like you have.
We are thankful for that.
In the United States, we definitely will be turned over the government as promised to whoever wins the June election of next year. The junta announced that Wednesday night that elections would be held the second Sunday of next June, and then the new government will be installed by July 28, 1963. In Washington, President Kennedy has picked General Lyman Lemonster as America's new commander in Europe, put him in line to succeed General Lois Norstad of Supreme Allied Commander. The White House is announcing this and also said that General Maxwell Detail will succeed General Lemonster as chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. General Taylor is currently President Kennedy's personal military advisor. The announcement made simultaneously Friday night by the White House and by the President weekend at Hyannisport, Massachusetts. Additionally, the Lieutenant General Earl G. Buzz Wheeler will be the new Army Chief of Staff. General Wheeler, now General Norstad's deputy for American forces in Europe, will be succeeded. General George H. Decker retired September 30th as Army Chief of Staff. General Norstad's resignation as Chief of American forces in Europe in his retirement from the Air Force was announced earlier Friday by the White House. President Kennedy accepted with deep regret. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization canceled meets on Tuesday. The Norstad resignation effective November 1st will be reported to the Council, then, as will be the appointment of General Lemonster as the successor. The Council and then expected to pick up General Lemonster to take over the top spot as Supreme Allied Commander. This post does not automatically go to the American chief, but it always has.
Get away from it all. You'll make memories you'll never forget, and you won't have
military musical chairs. Taylor for Lemonster for Norstad, out and Wheeler for Decker. Decker out will clear the air in Washington. President Kennedy has been listening enthusiastic about the leadership of either General Norstad or General Decker, and for that matter, he has some reservations about General Lemonster's performance as Chief Chairman. He's enthusiastic about Generals Taylor and Wheeler. Mr. Kennedy was so impressed with Senator Taylor that he used the General's book and uncertain trumpet as a blueprint for his renewed emphasis upon American preparedness to fight non-nuclear wars. General Taylor wrote the book after he quit and discussed as Army Chief of Staff, convinced that America's ground forces were being dangerously ignored in the Eisenhower administration, stressing in the theory of the massive retaliation.
You know what? Hey, once the seats dry out of Fenway, it's going to be a nice night for a game. Yeah, I was just over at Fenway Park.
And London British newspaper generally concluded today that the main reason for General Lois Norstad's resignation as Supreme Allied Commander in Europe with his difference with Washington and some NATO allies. Beyond the former friendlies of the letter, there is a bitterness at the Daily Mirror. Daily Herald's comments that Northstrad's health is not over good and continues, but also an open secret that there's no field to get from the governments that they supported expected for some of his proposals that Daily Mail said that Northstrad's was a reinforcement of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization that caused consternation in many European allies as well as in Washington. The Pentagon on many Western allies believe that the general Northstrad's demands are out of date, expensive, and unnecessary. That Times comments that Northstrad's reasons for resigning many have been personal.
Absolutely adamant that John Lester Stark that was supposed to be tonight was pushed back not because of
In Paris, retired U.S. Air Force General Louis Northstad said yesterday he had managed to maintain a bright outlook on life. I'm always happy. The Supreme Commander of NATO forces in Europe and Commander-in-Chief
wants to know your status today because you're
U.S. forces in Europe told reporters after he asked if he was happy to end such a long military career. Still looking youthful at 55, Northstad has been told that the NATO post 6 years and a complete 35 years of military service. In November, he expected a retirement date. Northstad did not elaborate to reporters on his reasoning for resigning. He has said that his letter to President Kennedy was self-explanatory. One factor cited that by the letter was that I have stayed in one field of activity and in one position somewhat longer than it was a normal practice in the military services. In Cape Canaveral, Florida, project officials pronounced everything ready yesterday for an attempt today to launch a Mariner 1 spacecraft on 148-day journey to the planet Venus. A powerful Atlas GBMT rocket spacecraft is blasted off and agreed on doctors to start the 446-pound payload on interplanetary voyage designed to take it within 10,000 miles of Venus for a 30-minute period of till December 8th during a brief encounter before Mariner 1 passes into an orbit after the sun. The sensitive measuring devices in the spacecraft have pierced Venus' heavy veil because an effort to unravel secrets have been mystified scientists and astronomers for centuries. The findings will be radioed to Earth, where scientists will be translated into signals and solid information about the mysterious planet which hides beyond the mantle of the clouds. Jack James Mariner, project manager for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration Jet Personal Laboratory said that spacecraft could shed considerable light on the nature and environment of Venus. Very little is known about the planet now. We don't know wherever it's been. The constitution of the atmosphere, whether it'll be a magnetic field or a potential Van Allen type radiation belt.
Now afterwards, Nicholson spoke about his...
Ottawa, after 3 years of the Board of Broadcast Governors, has suddenly gone beyond its policy of warning, reprimand, and parties that are taken for a name stations to court for alleged infractions and BBG regulations. And to never get tough move regulatory agency proposal to break up a dispute over the TV football rights by requiring not asking every television station in the country to carry the Grey Cup broadcast from Toronto December 1st. A bombshell statement by the governors on Friday also included 3 other moves. The BBG and the publicly owned CBC are going to court from a judicial interpretation law on the political broadcasting. The case stems from complaints that the CBC violated the BBG interpretation on law that day 2 days before the June 18th federal general election.
There's still a long road ahead.
The governors pledged only continuing consideration of what they called the problems connection with the TV license application. By the CBC, this goes at the heart of the recently reported breakdown in relations between the two agencies. The CBC seeks another major study of the whole broadcasting system. In addition, the BBG asks to use its statutory power to demand the affiliation of privately owned radio stations to propose new consideration in the English language CBC network. As suggested, the CBC considered building more of its own stations to get national coverage. There was no suggestion in the letter. Statement that governors will decline to require affiliation by the 61 privately owned stations and all but the BBG said that it's ready to recommend allocations of radio frequencies for long-run CBC use. The board's action against the 4 stations in the first of the Canadian broadcasting history. The BBG has never referred to such a move since it was created in late 1958. The records do not show any judicial action by the CBC, and the regulatory rule was held for 23 years. Before that, in Ottawa, James E. Coyne will be here before the Royal Commission on Banking and Financing in the fall, but was learned Friday. It will be his first public appearance since a year ago when he resigned on the governor of the Bank of Canada after a run-in battle with the governor in which tried to successfully to have Parliament fire him. Mr. Coyne, who has since moved to Toronto, will return to Ottawa at the Commission's request to discuss a central banking appearance at the same time. With a Graham Towers of Toronto, the bank governor from 1935 to 1954. Both will precede the present bank governors, Louis Raminski, before the Commission dates have not been set yet. The combination wound up in its latest 2-week hearing Friday with a second-day technical central bank discussion with Woodley Thomas, advisor to the Board of Governors in the United States Federal Reserve System.
Got your eye on our...
Next, the Commission will be in Ottawa September 10th to 28th after traveling to Quebec City.
Then we've got quite a contest on our hands.
To hear the Quebec government submission on October 15th, a third round of Ottawa sit-ins will be held between October 16th and November 2nd. The Ontario government is expected to come before the Commission in Ottawa. However, then, round probably sometime in October, a battery of central bank exports have been lined up by the Commission. Besides Messrs. Brasbinsky and Towers, they include Lord Cobold, retired Governor of the Bank of England, Dr. M.W. Haltrop, Governor of the Netherlands Central Bank, Professor Eric Lundberg, a Swedish military economist, Sir Dennis Robertson, monetary economist from Cambridge University in England, Professor J. Viner, Harvard economist, and a former Canadian Alan Sport, former president of the New York Federal Reserve Bank, and E.M. Bernstein, former official of the International Monetary Fund, and now a government consultant in Washington. In Quebec, Quebec government yesterday approved the 7 p.m. store closure for Montreal Island. Municipal Affairs Minister Lucien Clich announced following a cabinet meeting this controversial Montreal Metropolitan Corporation bylaw called Glongan closing 1 hour will go into effect. Also approved is 10 p.m. closing on all weekdays preceding the Easter Sunday will be on the day previous to even the certain Jewish holiday. Also spoken at the Municipal Affairs Department at 10 p.m. closing on Thursday and Friday as well as on weekend days during the December will be remain morning opening remain fixed at 7 a.m. He said the change will take effect immediately.
Here's Steve's personal meteorologist. Yeah, we're in good shape.
Okay, on to the weather here.
Much of this week cooler.
For Montreal, Laurentine region, scattered thunderstorms this afternoon, temperatures near normal. Winds light, low 9 about Montreal, 65-75. Same time can be 15-70 degrees. Outlook for Sunday, variable cloudiness.
Crowd, full of different people.
For the Ottawa, Pontiac, Timiskaming, and Alberta regions, clouded with showers, scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Temperatures near normal. Winds tonight, low and high at Ottawa, 60 and 75 degrees. Timiskaming and Noranda and Val-d'Or, 16-70 degrees. Outlook for Sunday, variable cloudiness. Quebec City, Eastern Township, St. Maurice, and Lake St. John regions. Showers with scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon. Temperatures near normal, high. Winds light, low and high at Quebec City, Sherbrooke, 55 and 75. Latuc and Chickman, 15-75. Out for Sunday, variable cloudiness. For Baie-Comeau, Rimouski, and Gaspé, 7. Islands region, sunny. Beginning mainly cloudy in the afternoon. Temperatures near normal. Winds light, low high about Baie-Comeau and 7 Islands, 15-75 degrees. Rivière, Duluth, and Montreal, 55-70, and Gaspé, 15-65 degrees. And that's me for that CBMT 6:45 p.m. weekend report on this July 21st. Thanks, 69 viewers. Hope you have a good evening. Bye-bye, buddy.